All right, good afternoon. It is Monday, February 20th, about 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm just going to do a midweek update based off my last forecast for earthquakes. I'll just change this to satellite imagery because it is easier for you to see it. And if you also pay attention, I'm kind of showing you how you can do this yourself. And just go to the USGS website, click latest earthquakes, switch to zoom to the world view, and gold dots represent earthquakes in the last 24 hours. Red dots are within the last hour. So these two are recent. They actually happened just before I started to set up to record this video. But before I get into making a update video, earthquake update video, I just want to say that I really appreciate the people that have subscribed to the YouTube channel, people that watch the videos and share the videos, people that comment on the videos. I really appreciate it. It's encouraging just to know that people are even care enough to check it out. I'm not a scientist, barely made it out of high school. I'm a restaurant guy, a foodie, marketer, etc. But I'm not a scientist, so you know, for the trolls that are out there and the people that have nothing better to do but to leave negative comments and call people idiots and fools and retarded and all of those adjectives, I just want to say that I appreciate you too, because for whatever reason you're spending your time looking at these videos. My YouTube channel is not monetized. I'm not making any money off of this. People have asked me how can we support your channel. In the description box of the video I left a link for my PayPal account if you want to do that. You know, I could use a little bit of extra cash, but it's not necessary. I'm going to keep doing these videos anyway because I'm learning and I want to learn. And so one way for me to do that is to document my research. I will say up front and ahead of time that I learned a lot about earthquake forecasting from a guy named Thnx, Tutchsinse, and I will leave a link to his YouTube channel in the bottom in the description box as well. So let's get into this. I'm going to zoom into an area that, if you've seen my other earthquake videos, is very familiar. Seems to be that this area right in here near Fiji and Tonga is an origination point for large deep earthquakes which move up to the surface and cause large shallow earthquakes. In my last forecast I have mentioned that there was one here in Fiji. What constitutes a large deep earthquake is anything over 4.0 in magnitude and a depth of greater than 300 kilometers. The reason is that it puts it into an area called the asthenosphere, way down here, about 300 kilometers. So it seems that earthquakes that originate down here in the asthenosphere or below the asthenosphere move up to the surface and produce larger, shallower earthquakes. Initially it will produce a similar size earthquakes, and that seismic pressure transfers across and along the plate boundaries, which are these lines that you see here, these red lines. These are called plate boundaries. This giant landmass here is called the Pacific Plate, and it seems that when a large deep earthquake starts here, it moves up to the surface and the pressure transfers along these plate boundaries to the south in this area, and over here to the west, and then ultimately to the north along the plate boundary. In my last update video I had mentioned that we should see similar size earthquakes over here in Solomon Islands, which there's one right here, a 4.9, a larger 5.0 in Papua New Guinea. I know I mentioned that. And in the Indonesian islands we also have a 5.0. I also mentioned that seismic pressure from the large deep earthquake a few days ago over here in the Philippines and over here and in the Marianas Trench would also move up here. So this is likely the result of that transfer of pressure. Now this particular earthquake here that just happened about an hour ago, maybe less than an hour ago, will also begin to transfer over into here into Alaska, where you see all these earthquakes over the last 24 hours. This is typical and normal to see these earthquakes up in here. A lot of seismic pressure going on underneath the plate, as this whole area along the edge of the plate boundary is subducting and moving under this plate. Same thing over here. You have the deepest place on Earth, which is this Marianas Trench right in here, and that is also a subduction area. So up here in Kamchatka, Russia, in this area, that pressure will transfer along the Aleutian Island chain, which is all volcanoes. I can zoom in real quick, take a look, just so that you can see these are not just islands, they are also volcanoes. Some of them active, some of them extinct, but for instance here, we'll take a good look at this one. We'll zoom in real close to it so you can just see that these are actually volcanic in nature. They're not just islands, they were all volcanoes at some point. You can kind of make them out. You can see right there the cone on the top. Even this little guy right here. We'll zoom in a little closer and you can see this is all volcanic landmass. There's a volcano here, there's a volcano here. These are all mountains essentially, but also volcanic in nature. So that pressure will transfer along the Aleutian Island chain. So over the next 24 to 36 hours, you'll see little earthquakes pop up along here. However, in my last update and forecast, we talked about two specific earthquakes that were large, deep earthquakes. One right here in the Mariana Islands and one down here in Tonga. This earthquake is a new one since then, which is also a large, deep earthquake. You can see right here, that's 533 kilometers. We'll go right to it and take a look. So you can see right here, 533 kilometers in depth, 4.5 in magnitude. So that earthquake will move up to the surface and produce similar size earthquakes over the next 24 to 36 hours, and then over the next 4 or 5 days that will produce larger shallow earthquakes of 1 to 2 magnitudes. So we are still looking for a 5.7 to 6.7 earthquake in this area right in here, possibly in the Philippines or Taiwan, possibly in the Indonesian islands. As I mentioned in my last update Friday, the large deep earthquake here in the Tonga region would produce similar size or larger earthquakes down here, and over the last 24 hours we have two separate events, a 4.9 here in the northern island, and then we also have a 4.5 in the South Island of New Zealand. So this earthquake will produce similar size earthquakes again over the next 24 to 36 hours, both down here to the south and to the west. Something that I didn't mention in my last video, but I have in others, is fracture zones that run across the plate and will deliver that seismic pressure over the next 3-4 days over here to the edge of South America, and then also up here into Central America and Mexico. So over the next few days we can expect to see more activity all along in here as a result of this large deep earthquake activity over here and over here. It will transfer all the way across the Pacific plate. Earthquakes that happen up in this area will transfer all the way over here into Northern California and the southern part of Canada. This area is also known as the Cascadia subduction zone. So we can expect some pressure from this one to move over here eventually. So anyway, I also mentioned in the last one on Friday that the pressure would transfer up and through here, across Afghanistan into Turkey, Greece, and then Italy. And here's your 4.0 right in the center of Italy, central Italy. So now that we have another large deep earthquake here and one a few days ago in this area, we can see a repeat of the same thing. That's one reason why earthquakes can be forecasted. Science typically says that earthquakes cannot be forecasted with any accuracy. But the fact of the matter is, just like the weather, just like hurricanes and storm systems can be forecast based on historical data, so can earthquakes. If you go back and look at the historical data of earthquakes, when you see large deep earthquakes, shortly after you see similar size large shallow earthquakes, and that they move in a fixed trajectory up along these plate boundaries. So I don't know why scientists continue to say that earthquakes cannot be forecasted, but myself and plenty of other people have been doing it over and over, time and time again. So large deep earthquake right here. A couple days ago, transferred pressure, and that's what all of these other little earthquakes over the last 24 hours are. We still have 3 days left in my Friday update and warning, and we will probably see a 5.7 to 6.7 or larger earthquake, likely up here in the Indonesian islands, Philippines, Taiwan, and Japan over the next. So this whole area of the West Pacific is on that watch. But I wanted to come here now 3 days later and just make another earthquake update, just kind of let you know that things are moving along exactly as predicted. I had mentioned some business about the Oroville Dam and an earthquake that happened there on February 8th. And I had mentioned that the spillway began to erode on the same day. One of the YouTube viewers, one of my subscribers, I think, had sent me some information that indicated that that was inaccurate, so I just want to go ahead and own that right now. The spillway failure, the emergency spillway failure, actually began to erode the day before. However, on the 7th, however, on the 8th, there was a 2.1 earthquake, or what the USGS called a quarry blast, just 3 miles away from that dam. Either way, I don't think it's a great idea to be doing any blasting when you have a spillway, emergency spillway that is crumbling. So just my opinion. It's not a big deal. It's just something I thought I would mention. I wish I hadn't, but we'll just leave that one and let it die. Meanwhile, if you're interested in knowing, it doesn't relate to earthquakes, but the flooding that's going on right now in the San Joaquin River basin is at approximately 48 feet. And as you can see right here, flood stage is 29, danger stage is 29 and a half. The San Joaquin River right now is at a height of 48 feet, so I would imagine that there is some significant flooding going on in that area. And just so you'll know, that's right in this area in here, in the Sacramento Valley area. So just a little side note. Probably shouldn't even talk about floods and stuff, because I'll get the trolls out after me. Again, I'm just going to reiterate, I am not a scientist. I'm just a regular guy who was bored and decided to start studying earthquakes because I was interested in it. So don't freak out. If you watch some of my other videos, there's some crazy stuff on there. It's just things that interest me. I don't necessarily agree with all of the videos that I upload or everything that's contained in them. It's just something that I feel is interesting and share worthy, and things that other people might be interested in as well. So I hope you will subscribe to my YouTube channel. I hope you'll give this video a thumbs up. Come back in 3 days. If anything happens in between, I'll try to make a video regarding large earthquakes that happen, because they are expected. So again, just to recap, we are expecting 5.0 earthquakes down in this area as a result from this one, and we're also expecting a larger 5.7 to 6.7 earthquake in this region right in here over the next couple of days. And then that earthquake update, or forecast rather, will expire. So I appreciate your patience. You guys are awesome. Trolls, you're welcome to come and troll. I'm going to set the comments to approved, just so I don't have to deal with the crap. If you want to say something nice, that's great. If you don't have anything nice to say, you know the old saying, don't say anything at all. Just go somewhere else. And for those people who want to critique every little thing with scientific data and all that, you know, I notice that a lot of people that do that, I click on them, they have a YouTube channel, but there's nothing on it. I would suggest you get a screen capture download and do your own videos, and, you know, teach people whatever it is you want to teach them. Heck, send me a link to your videos. I'll check them out. I probably won't leave you nasty comments, but I'll check them out. I have no problem with that at all. So I hope you guys are having a good week. It's Monday. Got 4 or 5 more days, and we'll come back and we'll do another earthquake update. Have a good night.